Hi, everyone. My name is Christine Tabera, CEO of LMVA Consulting, and we love connecting people. So today we're excited to celebrate Philippine Heritage Month with Max's Restaurant, highlighting successful Canadian Filipino business professionals within our community. And with me today is JR as host. JR?
Thank you, Christine. My name is JR Alabin. I'm a CPA, CJA, and I'm president and operator of Alabin Group, Max's Restaurant Winnipeg, and I'm also a CFO for the Archdiocese Winnipeg.
Well, when JR and I talked about putting this together for this event, we thought it would be a great opportunity to bring together successful Canadian Filipino business professionals within the community. And today, we're excited to bring Geeta Tucker, CPA, CMA, President and CEO of FCPA Manitoba. Geeta received her accounting designation in 1997 and was named Fellow in 2008 in recognition of her contributions to the accounting profession. Shortly after receiving her designation, she relocated to Calgary to begin her finance career spanning more than 25 years. She's held various roles with Nortel Networks and Shaw Communications, and in 2005, she became the Chief Financial Officer with Alina International. They specialize in leading Canadian and international professionals to resolve some of the most pressing economic and social developmental challenges the world faces today. She has extensive knowledge working with international funding agencies and financial institutions such as Global Affairs Canada and the World Bank. In 2009, she was named one of Calgary's top 40 under 40 and has 2 decades of experience volunteering for the accounting profession, taking on key leadership and governance roles. And in April of 2019, she moved to Manitoba and she was named President and CEO of CPA Manitoba, where she represents 9,000 CPA members in Manitoba, candidates and students. Let's bring Geeta onto stage.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Geeta. Thanks so much.
Hi, JR. Hi, Christine.
Hi. Thanks so much for joining us today. We look forward to our time here together. And I know we only have 20 minutes, so we're really excited to hear a little bit about your journey as an accountant, your experience within the community, and of course, because it's Philippine Heritage Month, any fun family stories that you want to share. And for anyone who's joining us live, we want to make the most of your time too. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. And as we go through this event, we'll try and pull up those questions and we can answer them in real time. But before we start in talking about your journey as an accountant, we'd love to hear, a family memory or something that honors your Philippine heritage.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there are so many stories from my mom and my grandma, but I think the one that kind of strikes me the most is, so my family's from Legazpi, Daraga Albay to be precise, and that's also the location of the Mayon volcano. And my family's home is situated in such a way that you can actually see the volcano in the distance. And so you can imagine the excitement over the years because it's an active volcano. And so growing up, my mom would tell us about my own volcano and tell us all of these stories. Well, we thought my mom had her own volcano. and so we thought, the Philippines is so cool. Like, people have their own volcanoes and, it's just an amazing place to be. But anyways, I thought I would share that with you guys.
Oh, that's amazing. JR, did you want to kick off some questions?
Sure. So how did you get started, Geeta, in your accounting career? And what are you doing now? I mean, there's some future there, but we want to spill the beans. Like, we want the gossip.
You want the real good. Yeah. So my origin story is, a little bit embarrassing. I was really, really nerdy when I was a kid, and I would do things like take Halloween, for example. You'd finish Halloween, you'd have your big pillowcase of candy. And I used to make these inventory reports of all the candy that I had. And I would have like 6 Twix bars and 8 Mars bars and 12 lollipops. And I would update this inventory every week. And sometimes, it'd be like, hey, hey, this report says I have 8 Mars bars, but there's only 6 here. And I go up to my sister and I'd say, hey, is there something that you want to tell me about what's going on? And eventually my parents said, you might want to think about a career in accounting. And I was about 11 or 12 years old. So I have some kind of school homework reports where in my kid handwriting, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be an accountant. So that
sounded more like an auditor in the making there. At that
yes, exactly. I really was an auditor in the making. And then what I'm doing now, so right now, as you mentioned, I'm president and CEO of CPA Manitoba, and I both regulate and represent Manitoba's 9,000 CPAs all across the province.
And what's one thing in that role that really excites you, that you enjoy doing?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a very interesting role because part of it is, making sure that CPAs are well equipped and have the skills, the knowledge and experience to properly support the public. And that's really, really important in our role. So I get to work both in the community and work with a lot of our members. But today I wanted to share 2 things with you that kind of really excite me about my role these days. So the first one is earlier this year, I was named Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Executive Sponsor for the profession across Canada. And this is both an exciting role, but also a really, really daunting role because there's just so much work to do to make sure that we break down some of those barriers of entry to our profession. But the more I speak with people, across the country and our members and non-members alike, the more I'm getting really excited about doing this work because I just find that there's a huge willingness to want to break down these barriers and to want the profession to be more inclusive of all kinds of different people. So, we have a lot of work to do, but at the same time, it's very, very fulfilling work and very meaningful work. And then the second thing I wanted to share with you about my job is I really enjoy seeing how CPAs live the designation. So, where do they take it? What do they do? Like having a career at a large accounting firm is really exciting because you get to spend time with companies in all kinds of different industries and meeting people from all walks of life. But you might be a CPA in industry, like working for a company like NFI and working on the leading technology in electric buses, or maybe you're working for Skip the Dishes. We have one member, he's an NHL statistician. Like how cool is that? And it's all, based on his accounting background. Maybe, you're in charge of launching a successful restaurant like Max's Restaurant. And, that's your job. And you draw on all your CPA skills to do that. Yeah, I really enjoyed that part. It's meeting the people.
Geeta, going back to the number one there, my experience when I started my education at CGA, maybe I was not outside of the box yet. I was trying to find myself and getting on it, but I didn't find a lot of I guess internationally trained students. But then it grew, right? I was very proud of her time and even being involved with associations back at CGA and now CPA. I see the diversity is beautiful, to be honest. It's great to hear from you that speaking with your stakeholders in your new role, that there is a willingness there to break down the barriers. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it really is. It's so exciting and it's necessary. The world is just, becoming so international and we're interconnected globally now. It's almost like we just have to. There's no other choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I'm sure as we've gone through this pandemic too, the whole idea of virtual, we become more connected with everyone, no matter where you are, right? And so to be a forefront in some of these conversations and discussions that are happening around the table, that's amazing. It sounds like some really great work that you're doing.
Yeah, it really is. And if it encourages other professions to do this work, all the power to all of us. I think it's a great thing to do.
So the role that you fulfill right now gives you that fulfillment.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's so satisfying. It's really varied, and I'm drawing on my CPA skills all the time. But then also it kind of takes me beyond my comfort zone a little bit, beyond the numbers, beyond the analysis, and into a more human aspect of the profession. And that's completely new to me and also very exciting.
No, that's great. And, as I do want to remind the audience too, who with the people that are joining us, please post your question in the chat, and, we'd be happy to answer those for you as well too. But anyways, I just wanted to make sure that everybody did know that. But no, that is really exciting work. And I think it sets the stage for all sorts of amazing things that could happen next.
Yeah, exactly.
JR, did you want to continue on with a couple of questions?
Sure, yeah. Geeta, which I'm sure a lot of candidates are listening to us, what advice would you give to aspiring students or maybe international students that have, come to Manitoba and still considering the program and they don't know where to start?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think I think you're getting a flavor that when you're a CPA, you can take the designation to where you want to take it into areas that really interest you. And I think that's, one of the great benefits is the flexibility of it. But I'd also like to say that as a woman and a mother, it was, very flexible as a profession as I was raising my family. And my kids are 21 and 18 now. But I was really thankful and really grateful for those years of flexibility where I could, maybe take my work to different areas if I was watching, a dance practice or to the hockey rink, or, it was something, it just worked really well. But if I was to give some advice to, CPAs in general, is that, it's so easy to say no to something and to come up with reasons not to do something, like not to do that training program or not to change jobs or not to start a new company or, just do something different or make a move. Excuses like I don't have time or I'll wait till the kids grow up. I mean, they're just easy to rattle off. But I challenge everybody to say yes to things in a responsible way. And I'm just going to underline that part. Don't say yes to everything, but say yes in a responsible way, and try and encourage yourself to find ways to enable yourself to take that step. And it's definitely not easy. And sometimes when you're taking these risks, you realize that your life is going to look different than other people, perhaps. You might not look like your friends and family and everything. And like in my life, one of the things that I decided to cut out was watching TV. And so I can't have a chat with people about the latest Netflix thing or whatever. But for me, that gave me an extra 1 to 2 hours in my day where I could go for a walk, maybe finally meet up with somebody, and hang out with them and connect with somebody else. And I didn't really feel like I was missing much by not watching TV as much as I used to. So that was just one of the things. Yeah.
And do you think that whole philosophy of saying yes to things helped get you to where you are today?
Yes. Yeah, I would say so. There were some times, like when I started off as CFO of Alinea International, I was thinking, I have never been a CFO before. I'm not sure if I can do this job. But I said, you know what? I'm never going to know unless I try it. And what is the worst thing that's going to happen? I'm going to not be successful, or maybe I won't like it. And then I'm going to try and find something else and just move on to something else. So yeah, it is taking a risk, but you have to be okay with being a little bit vulnerable. You have to be okay with that you might fail. And that's fine. Your hardest critic is probably going to be yourself, of anybody.
Always is the case.
Always is.
And from the CPAs that I know, calculated risks.
Calculated risks, Exactly.
And the passion too. And I would say, Geeta, the passion, like you gotta, when you volunteer for something, where if you want to do something outside of your designation, because you could be, like what you said, you could be a CFO or you could be a controller somewhere, but you might have a different passion. And then I think saying yes to something that you're passionate about, because that's where you're going to excel at.
Yes, exactly. And it stops feeling like work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it definitely takes the whole idea of the stereotypical accountant and puts it into a whole different world of opportunities that exist.
It sure does. Yeah, it sure does. We're having our 3-day conference right now for all the CPA members. And it's just clear that you can go off in all these directions, and CPAs are interested in many different things in the world too. Design thinking, innovation, diversity, inclusion. It really is a whole new world.
No, that's wonderful. And I think that's aspiring, great advice to kind of share with people and take away and walk away with. Is there anything from your perspective that you would like to share with others? Whether it's about CPA, the organization itself, or people in their career journey. Anything you'd like to share from that perspective?
Yeah, maybe if I could talk a little bit about volunteerism, and a little bit about saying yes to things. One of the things that I've discovered through my move to Winnipeg 2 years ago is that when you choose your volunteer opportunities, try and choose things that are a little bit different than what you do in your day-to-day life. And I call this re-vectoring your life. So if you picture your life going down one path or one vector, if you introduce something new to your environment, that might, put you off in a different direction that maybe you didn't imagine before, but it takes you to this wild and wonderful place where you then take ideas and creativity and bring them back to your day job. And so since I moved here, I have joined Fort White Alive. So I'm a volunteer there, and on Saturdays or Sundays, you can find me walking the paths and greeting people at Fort White. I'm also on the finance committee for United Way, and that's been a great way to understand about some of the challenges that are in our community here in Winnipeg. I'm a member of the Associates of the Asper School of Business. So that keeps me interested in students and learning and innovation and different things that you can do through learning. And then finally, I have just recently joined the Board of Trustees of the Royal MTC.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm really looking forward to, bringing some of the arts and culture into my life as well. And I've always loved the theater, and there's room for accountants in that too.
Oh,
and there's a connection there too.
Absolutely. And I think Winnipeg has such a vibrant arts community. So to be able to give back, that is wonderful. You know what, Geeta, I did have somebody who did, Ernesto, did bring up a question, and maybe we can kind of share that in, thanks, Remy. Basically, if it's possible to hold a 1-hour virtual cafe with internationally trained professionals. They have clients who are newcomers, immigrants who are interested to learn about the profession, including youth. Maybe we could talk about that, or other things that you do to help connect youth to the program.
Yes, we would love to. I would love to bring some of my staff with me who are super knowledgeable in all the different intricacies of the program. But as well, I would love to meet some new international students or people who are just generally interested in the profession. And we'd love to answer your questions and just tell you more about what it's like to be a CPA.
Great. Well, maybe after this, I'll try and get Ernesto's contact details and connect the two of you, and we can take it from there, or with one of the team members at CPA.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. That's a great suggestion, Ernesto. I'm looking forward to it.
Great. Well, I know that we've got, that was kind of our 20 minutes. That went really quick. And we probably, the three of us probably could have talked a lot longer. But before we close, Geeta, we want to thank you so much for your time. Is there anything you'd like to add or share before we leave, lasting remarks?
Well, I would just like to say Happy Filipino Heritage Month to everybody. I'm so proud to be celebrating this alongside all of you. And I've had such a wonderful welcome to my new city and have enjoyed meeting Winnipeggers so much. And I just wanted to say thank you for the warm welcome. It's really great.
Great. JR, anything else you'd like to say before we say goodbye to Geeta?
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Geeta. And I think a lot of people are probably surprised your heritage. I think that's a great thing with Manitoba. We're very polite and hey, what's your background? But I think it's something to celebrate. And the same thing with our First Nations. So we honor our culture and I think this is a generation to do that. Continue to honor the different generations that we have or the cultures that we have in Canada. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I should have put my full name on my banner, which is Sampa Geeta.
Right.
I should have put the whole thing.
Right, the Filipino national flower.
Exactly. That's right.
No,
that's right. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time, Geeta, and you do appreciate. And I think if anybody else is looking at this video post live, if they want to connect with Geeta, we'll make that happen, and with any of the team at CPA Manitoba. Thanks, Geeta.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye. Well, we thank everyone for joining us today, and Ernesto for bringing up a question in the chat. We hopefully, as we do these over the next couple of weeks, people will start asking questions, and we can have this more of a dynamic conversation between us. So thanks, Ernesto, for the chat. We appreciate that Geeta took time out of her busy week to join us today. And I also want to thank the team at Coffee Ring Marketing for helping us put together this live. And of course, until we can get together at Max's Restaurant and do one of these events live, we'd love you to come back and join us next Tuesday on June 22nd at 12:30. Same place to meet Eileen Madden, CPA CA, Senior Vice President, Chief Internal Auditor at IGM Financial. Thanks. Anything else from you, JR, before we close off?
No, thank you, and happy Philippine Independence Day. The original date was June 12th, 1898, by President Aguinaldo. And yeah, no, it's fantastic again for celebrating the different cultures in Canada, and that's why, and especially we're starting with the CPAs and celebrating the business professionals, but obviously we can venture into other professional designations as well, Christine. So I think this is
Absolutely
exciting. We had a great start with the Business Maxis events, and we had a variety of topics that we covered at the store, but obviously COVID happened. That's okay. We'll be back. We'll beat COVID soon. So.
Yes. No. Again, if people have any suggestions or other people they'd love to hear about, please do share with us. We want to kind of help this community grow and highlight a lot of these Canadian business professionals out there that we may not be aware of. Thanks again for your time, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers. Bye. Thank you.